For several nights in a row, something unnatural had been happening at the edge of the cornfield. At sunrise, the damage told the story. Deep claw marks ripped through soil. Corn stalks lay crushed and twisted. Massive tracks, each one nearly the size of a man's fist, crisscrossed the field like a warning left behind on purpose. The locals didn't need cameras to know what this meant. They had a name for the creatures responsible. The black shadows of the red soil. Wild boars, smart, aggressive, and moving in numbers. Today, we weren't here to scare them off. We were here to take out the ringleaders. Our team arrived fully equipped. Thermal drones in the air, rifles locked and ready, tracking gear calibrated. Every movement had been planned for a full-scale confrontation. As dawn broke, the four raptor growled alike and pushed into the forest. One question hung heavy in the air. Would we finally come face-to-face with the monsters? We started at the forest edge, where the ground was still damp. Fresh tracks stood out clearly, cutting straight into the trees. Then moving, about 60 meters ahead, a medium-sized boar was hiding in thick underbrush. I raised my hand, signaling my teammate to flank right while I held center. The boar lifted its head. That was the moment. I squeezed the trigger. The shot punched clean through. The animal dropped instantly. No struggle. No escape. A clean start. We moved fast, checking the area, knowing the noise would draw attention. Deeper into the forest, we followed a narrow trail. Suddenly rustling. Louder. Closer. Another boar, digging through the soil, unaware of us. Range, 80 meters. Wind, light, pushing against us. I adjusted, waited for the perfect angle. Bang. The boar collapsed where it stood. Two down. But the forest wasn't quiet anymore. As the sun climbed higher, visibility improved. But so did the risk. Every step forward felt heavier. 10 minutes later, I spotted movement again. A boar peeking from dense brush. I steadied my aim and fired. The first shot hit its side. Jolted, then bolted. No hesitation. The second round went straight into the chest. The threat was neutralized. 3 boars down. And that's when the radio crackled. Movement. 4 o'clock. I moved immediately, taking cover behind a tree. I scoped in. The angle was bad, 30 degrees off. The target was farther than expected. I fired. The shot hit its shoulder. The beast roared and disappeared into the dense forest. For a split second, it looked like it would escape. But we had planned for this. Earlier, we had set a trap. Right on schedule, the boar burst out of the trees, straight into my teammate's line of fire. No hesitation. One steady breath. One precise headshot. Game over. The forest fell silent. We were about to call it when a faint sound came from the field's edge. A smaller boar, likely separated from the herd, crept into view. I waited, let it step fully into the zone, then fired. A clean hit. The team exhaled together. The ground was littered with shell casings. The air smelled of damp earth and gunpowder. Every action today had followed strict state regulations, but the hunt wasn't over. Because somewhere deeper in these woods, the rest of the herd was watching. The silence after the last shot didn't bring relief. It brought tension. Forests don't go quiet unless something is listening. We regrouped near the trail, scanning every direction. The thermal drone hovered above the canopy, its feed flickering with heat signatures that refused to stay still. They were circling. Wild boars don't retreat like deer. When pressured, they regroup. When cornered, they charge. And this herd was big. The drone operator's voice cut through the radio. Multiple heat sources. Moving fast. South Ridge. That ridge led straight back toward the cornfield. If they broke through again, the damage would be catastrophic. We moved immediately. Boots pounded against roots and loose soil as we pushed uphill, rifles held tight, breathing controlled. The smell hit us first. Strong, musky, unmistakable. They were close. Then it happened. A massive boar exploded from the brush without warning. 200 pounds of muscle and tusk, charging straight downhill. No hesitation. 2 shots rang out almost simultaneously. The boar collapsed less than 10 meters away, skidding through leaves and dirt before going still. Heartbeats thundered in our ears. That was no scout. That was a warning. Moments later, the forest erupted. Branches snapped. Bushes shook violently. A full sounder broke cover. Boars running in all directions, some fleeing, others charging blindly through the trees. This was chaos. I dropped to one knee, tracking movement through the scope. Shot. Another down. To my left, a teammate fired twice in quick succession. 2 more fell, but the rest vanished into the thickest part of the forest. That's when we realized the real problem. They weren't escaping. They were funneling. The terrain narrowed near a dry creek bed, a natural choke point. If they reached it, tracking them would become nearly impossible. We split instantly. 2 hunters cut left. 2 pushed right. I held center with Overwatch. Seconds later, shapes burst from the undergrowth. A large boar broke first, followed by 2 more. I lined up the lead animal. 1 shot. It dropped hard, blocking the path. The others panicked, turning directly into my teammate's position. 3 shots echoed back to back. Silence. For now. As the dust settled, the drone operator spoke again, his voice tense. New heat signatures. Bigger ones. Still deeper in. The ringleaders. The ones the locals feared. The ones that didn't run. We checked ammo. Reloaded calmly. No one spoke, but everyone understood. This hunt had crossed a line, and the most dangerous part was still ahead. Because when wild boars stop running, they start hunting back. The forest felt different now, heavier, like it was holding its breath. The drone hovered higher, its soft hum barely audible above the pounding in our chests. On the thermal screen, the heat signatures were no longer scattered. They were clustered, tight, organized. That was the moment we understood something unsettling. These weren't panicked animals anymore. They were preparing. Veteran hunters know this truth well. Wild boars are not reckless. When threatened, the largest and most aggressive members of the sounder move forward to protect the group. The smaller ones fall back. The wounded are abandoned. Survival of the strongest, by any means necessary. And the strongest were still out there. We advanced slowly, step by step, using the wind to our advantage. The creek bed curved ahead, flanked by dense brush and fallen timber. Perfect cover for an ambush. Then the ground trembled. A deep, guttural sound echoed through the trees. Not a squeal, not a panic cry. A challenge. Out of the shadows emerged the largest feral hog I had ever seen. Massive shoulders, scarred hide, tusks thick and curved like ivory knives. This was the boar responsible for the destruction, the broken fences, the ruined fields, the fear that kept farmers awake at night. And it wasn't alone. Two more followed, flanking wide. A textbook maneuver. Hold, came the whisper over the radio. Time slowed. My finger rested against the trigger as the lead boar lowered its head and charged. The distance closed fast. 30 meters. 20. I fired. The shot struck, but the boar didn't fall. It kept coming. A second shot, then a third. Finally, it collapsed just feet away, skidding through dirt and leaves, tusks carving deep grooves into the soil. Before anyone could react, the second boar lunged from the right. One of our team barely rolled clear as it slammed into a tree trunk with bone-shaking force. Shots erupted from all sides. The forest exploded with sound. When it finally ended, silence returned, thick and absolute. We stood still, scanning every shadow, every branch, waiting for movement. Nothing. The drone operator confirmed it moments later. No remaining heat signatures. It was over. As dawn broke, the damage became fully visible. Acres of torn earth, crops shredded, fences flattened like wire toys. This was not random destruction. It was systematic, relentless. This is why feral hogs are considered one of the most destructive invasive species in the United States. Their intelligence, adaptability, and explosive reproduction make them a threat that cannot be ignored. Control hunting isn't about sport here. It's about survival. For farmers, for ecosystems, for the balance between humans and wildlife. Every successful operation like this protects thousands of acres of farmland and prevents millions of dollars in losses. But the battle is far from over, because somewhere beyond the next ridge, another sounder is already moving, learning, adapting, waiting. The war against invasive wild boars continues, one hunt at a time.